Look at you. You glitch in their perfect little system. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You know what you did, right? You solved it. You cracked the pattern, the game, the lie, the thing they swore was just how life is. And now, they can't sleep. They're replaying you in their heads like a horror movie. They can't pause. You have to understand something. Most people aren't terrified of failure. They're terrified of proof. And that's what you became. Proof. Proof that the excuse they've been hugging like a blanket for years is garbage. They told themselves, nobody ever gets out of this place. People like us don't win. You can't beat the system. You can't change. And then you walked in with your messy past, your scars, your anxiety, your burnout, your trauma, your I'm so tired of this energy. And somehow, with all that chaos, you did the one thing they never thought you'd do. You figured it out. Not perfectly, not cleanly, not aesthetically pleasing for social media, but you did it. You cracked the code. You changed your mindset. You cut people off. You started moving different. You stopped playing the clown in their circus and started writing your own script. And now they're up at 3 a.m., scrolling, stalking, obsessing, whispering. How did they do it? Why them? No way they did it without cheating. Oh, they can't sleep because you're not where they left you. You ruined their sense of reality. You know what they really wanted from you? Not your happiness, not your success, not your peace. They wanted consistency. They wanted you predictable, manageable, harmless. You were supposed to stay the almost person, the they try but never fully make it friend, the one bad decision away from collapse, relative, the yeah they talk big but they'll never actually change, co-worker. They built an entire identity around watching you almost win, and then fall apart. They liked that version of you, didn't they? You, always venting, but never acting. You, always dreaming, but never building. You, always needing advice, help, validation, a ride, alone, a place to crash. You made them feel superior, safe, in control, but then you did something unforgivable in their little story. You stopped needing them. You stopped explaining your every move. You stopped arguing and started disappearing. You stopped trying to prove your worth and started proving it to yourself. And quietly, methodically, like a villain building in the shadows, you cracked the code of your own life. Let's be clear. You didn't just solve some external puzzle. You solved you. You solved why you keep picking the same toxic people, why you procrastinate until your life is on fire, why you sabotage good things, why you're terrified of being seen actually trying, why comfort feels safer than growth, even though it's killing you. You sat there, probably late at night, phone in your hand, eyes burning, heart heavy, mind loud, and you said, I can't keep doing this. That's the line, right there. That's where it shifted. Not when they doubted you, not when they laughed, not when they left. No. It changed when you got sick of the loop. You started connecting the dots. Wait, I'm not unlucky. I'm repeating. Wait, they're not better than me. I just keep abandoning myself. Wait, this system is rigged, but I've been helping them rig it against me. That's the code you cracked. Not some magic hack, not some lucky break. You solved the equation of why you keep ending up in the same hell, and you broke it. And now they see it. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. You respond slower. You don't show up for every drama. You don't explain every boundary. You're not available like a 24/7 emergency hotline anymore. You've gone from emotionally on-call clown to unreachable main character. And they hate it. Oh, they hate it. Because when you stop playing your old role, their script stops working. They can't sleep because suddenly, the friend they used to gossip about is now the one people gossip about in a different way. Damn, did you see what they're doing now? The relative they used as a cautionary tale is now the one everyone is low-key proud of, but too ego-bruised to admit. The coworker they joked would never move up is now the one who looks like they might walk out and never come back, and actually have options. You were their favorite example of why not to try too hard. Now you're the walking contradiction of everything they told themselves to stay comfortable. Of course they can't sleep. You are living proof that their excuses are lies. Let's talk about the group chats for a second. You know the ones you're not in anymore. Screens glowing in the dark. Greater than they're acting brand new. Greater than so now they think they're better than us. Greater than one little win and they changed up. Greater than they must be doing something shady. That's the funniest part. The moment you changed your patterns, they didn't question theirs. They questioned your morals. Because to them, success without compromise is impossible. Why? Because they can't imagine it. They can't imagine waking up and actually staying consistent. They can't imagine saying no to every bad urge, every lazy habit, every toxic invite. They can't imagine deleting numbers, blocking access, shutting doors, rebuilding identity. So if you did it, it must be luck manipulation, a phase, or some secret cheat code you don't deserve. They can't sleep because they're not actually mad at you. They're mad at the version of themselves they'll never meet unless they do what you did. And that version scares the life out of them. Look at your journey for a second. You went from, I can't do this without them, to, I can't do this if they're still around. You went from, what if I lose people, to, if I have to lose myself to keep them, they're already gone. They remember the night you cried in front of them, the call where you were broken, the rant where you said, I'm done, I can't anymore, and you meant it. But you still stayed. They got comfortable thinking. They'll never actually walk away. They always break, but they never break free. Then one day, without a speech, without a warning, without some dramatic announcement, you just started moving differently. Less talking, more doing, less complaining, more changing, less you'll see, and more watch. That shift, that silent, calm, terrifying shift, that's what's keeping them up. Because anger they can handle, drama they can eat for breakfast, but silence, distance, consistency, growth, that's terrifying. You need to really let this sink in. They are not losing sleep because you became evil. They're losing sleep because you became evidence. Evidence that you can have their same background and not end up like them. You can have the same trauma and not weaponize it forever. You can come from the same place and still decide, this legacy ends with me. You broke hereditary laziness. You broke generational silence. You broke cultural stay-in-your-place programming. You broke that unspoken family rule of, we don't talk about that, by healing yourself and moving differently. And now those who choose not to heal have to look at you and admit, it was possible. That's the code. That's what you solved. You know why they call you changed? Like it's an insult? You changed. You're different now. You're not the same person you used to be. Good. You're not supposed to be. What were you supposed to do, huh? Stay the shattered version of yourself just because that's the version they could control. Keep pretending you're clueless just so they feel smart. Laugh at jokes that were actually disrespect. Keep showing up to tables where you're always the punchline. No. You finally realized the most dangerous truth. Greater than, I don't owe anyone the weaker version of me, just because that's the version they're comfortable with. And once you saw that, once the illusion broke, once the code revealed itself, you couldn't unsee it. You started to notice who only calls when they need something, who treats your boundaries like a personal attack, who goes quiet whenever you share good news, who suddenly wants to check in now that you're glowing a little different. You solved the equation of who's really for you versus who just likes the benefits of being near you. And that's a ruthless kind of clarity. Let's go deeper, because this isn't just about haters and jealous people. That's too shallow. This goes further down. Some of the people losing sleep over your growth actually love you. That's the twisted part. They love you, but they're still unsettled by you, because they built a whole identity around being stronger, wiser, more stable than you. And now, you caught up. Worse, you might have passed them, and they don't know what to do with that. It rewrites everything. If they can change, what does that say about me staying the same? If they can heal, what does that say about me choosing my wounds as a personality? If they can rise, what does that say about my "it's impossible for us" narrative? They have two options. 1, evolve with you. 2, resent you and call it concern. Guess which one keeps them up at night? Now listen closely, because this part is for you, and only you. You're going to be tempted to shrink again, to dim down, to soften your wins, to say, it's not that deep, I just got lucky, when you know damn well you bled for this. You'll want to downplay it because you see the discomfort in their eyes. You feel the weird vibe when you talk about your progress. You hear the change in their tone. Suddenly, they joke about your new habits. They mock your boundaries. They say you're obsessed or too serious now. They accuse you of thinking you're better. That's the trap. That's the part of the old code trying to pull you back in. Understand this. They are not uncomfortable because you're bragging. They're uncomfortable because your existence is now a mirror. You don't even have to say anything. You walk into a room with your healed energy, your new standards, your better posture, your calmer responses, and it exposes the chaos they refuse to confront in themselves. You solved it. You found a way out of the mental cage they decorated and called home. So now when they see you, they don't just see you. They see every decision they didn't make, every opportunity they let pass, every time they chose comfort over evolution. That's not your guilt to carry. You know what takes real nerve? Continuing to win slowly, not flashy, not overnight, just steady, repeated, intentional moves. Because at first they'll say, it's just a phase. They always start strong but fall off. Give it a few weeks. Weeks pass. Months pass. You keep going. Not perfect, but consistent enough. Suddenly their brain can't file you under temporary change anymore. It has to file you under something terrifying, greater than permanent threat to my narrative. You're not a one-time event. You're becoming a new baseline. The lazy one is now the disciplined one. The too emotional one is now the one who regulates their reactions better than everyone. The broke one is now financially smarter than the people who looked down on them. The needy one is now the one with the strongest boundaries. You inverted the roles. You flipped the script. You rewrote the story they cast you in. Of course, they can't sleep. Let's talk about you now. Because this isn't just about making them uncomfortable. It's about what this version of you is capable of. Because if you could if you could break this pattern, if you could untangle this mess, what else can't you do? You solved, showing up even when your mood said, lay down and rot, being disciplined, even when nobody clapped for you, making moves with no audience, no validation, no applause, forgiving yourself for your past, while refusing to keep repeating it. That's not small. That's not one little change. That's architecture. You're rebuilding your entire internal structure. And as you keep going, you're going to notice something strange. The more control you gain over yourself, the less control the world has over you. Suddenly, they can't manipulate you with guilt. They can't bait you with drama. They can't hook you with, you've changed comments. They can't use your fear of abandonment to keep you obedient. That's freedom, not the vacation type. The I'm not your puppet anymore type. You solved the code of how they kept you smaller than you really are. And once that's solved, you are no longer safe for their comfort. But let's be brutally honest. You're still scared sometimes, aren't you? Because now that you've stepped out of the cage, there's no script, no guaranteed outcome, no clear path. You solved one thing, and it opened 10 more questions. What do I actually want? Who am I without the drama? How do I live without chaos as my personality? What do I do when peace feels weird? That uncertainty, that shaky feeling, good. It means you're actually living, not looping. You used to be scared of failing. Now you're just scared of going back. That fear, use it. Every time you think about going back to old habits, old people, old patterns, old environments, remember the version of you that couldn't sleep. Not because others were threatened, but because you were miserable. The nights you stared at the ceiling thinking, is this really my whole life? Is this just who I am? Is this all I ever get? You solved that. Don't undo your own miracle just because some people are emotionally allergic to your evolution. Here's the part nobody tells you. Being the one who cracks the code doesn't make you special in the way people romanticize it. It makes you responsible. Because now, your younger self is watching. The people quietly inspired by you are watching. The ones who secretly know they can do better because they saw you do it are watching. You're not their savior, but you are their proof. That doesn't mean you have to carry them. You're not a bus, you're a signal. Your life is now a broadcast that says, greater than you can break it. You can change it. You're not locked in. They might not clap for you publicly. They might make jokes. They might roll their eyes. Still, they're watching, they're listening, they're thinking, and they are definitely not sleeping the same. So what now? Now you keep going. Not to spite them, not to prove them wrong. You already did that the moment you didn't collapse the way they expected. You keep going because you finally tasted alignment. You woke up one day and realized, I don't hate myself as much anymore. I actually like the choices I'm making. I might not be where I want yet, but I'm not who I was. That feeling, that quiet, subtle, I'm becoming someone I respect. Hold on to that harder than you've ever held on to any person, because people will come and go. Approval will come and go. Support will come and go. But the code you cracked inside yourself, that's yours. They can watch. They can whisper. They can refresh your page 100 times a day. They can dissect your moves like analysts breaking down game footage. At the end of it all, they don't have to sleep with your decisions. You do. And for the first time in a long time, you're the one who's starting to rest a little easier, while they lie awake, wondering how you did it, if it's real, and if they'll ever find the courage to do the same. And what's really messing with their heads is that you're not even doing anything theatrical about it. You're not posting a manifesto every other day. You're not making a big speech at every family gathering. You're not going live and explaining your every mindset shift like a documentary. You're just living different, answering different, moving different, choosing different. They keep zooming in on your life, trying to find some big dramatic moment to blame, some villain origin story they can point to. But it's not that neat. It's boring stuff. And that's what scares them. You're waking up a bit earlier. You're saying no a lot more. You're not taking every call. You ignore texts that drain you. You don't chase where you're clearly not wanted. Tiny adjustments, micro decisions, boring discipline. They can't sleep because the thing they told themselves was impossible is just you doing small things repeatedly. No secret ritual, no magic shortcut. Just you deciding you're tired of being your own worst enemy. They told themselves they'd change when they felt ready. You changed when you were exhausted. Big difference. They white of motivation. You moved from disgust, from that I can't stand myself like this anymore feeling. You hit that point where being uncomfortable in growth finally felt less painful than staying comfortable in destruction. Quiet switch. No announcement. Just a different kind of tired. They remember you when you were stuck in that loop. You overthinking every step. You asking 10 people for advice just to ignore all of it. You promising yourself, this is the last time, while walking right back into the same fire. You are predictable, safe easy to decode. And then one day you just didn't react the way you usually do. The message came in, and you didn't reply. The invite popped up, and you didn't go. The disrespect happened. And instead of arguing for 3 hours, you just withdrew your energy completely. That deviation from the script is what haunts them. Because if you can rewrite that, what else are you willing to rewrite? They used to know which buttons to push. They had a whole remote control for you. Guilt button, fear button, abandonment button, anger button. Press here. They'll chase press here. They'll explain press here. They'll apologize for things that weren't even their fault. Then you went in and rewired the circuit button. Still there. Reaction changed. They press the guilt button, and you shrug. They press the anger button, and you stay calm. They press the I'm disappointed in you button, and you say okay, and move on static. No response, system offline. And that's when they realized you didn't just solve some external situation. You solved your emotional wiring. That's terrifying for people who rely on your old version to feel powerful. There's this part of them that's thinking, if I can't control this person like before, who am I around them? Because their whole dynamic with you was built on imbalance. They were the stable one, the logical one, the I know better one. You were the messy one, the emotional one, the always in some kind of crisis one. Then your crisis turned into clarity, and their stability turned into stagnation. That flip is not something the human ego handles gracefully. You notice how they suddenly start over-explaining their own life choices when they're around you. They talk more about their job, their relationship, their routines. They start throwing in random lines like, greater than, I could change if I wanted to. I just don't care like that. Greater than, not everything is about leveling up. Some of us are just chill. It's defensive. It's that nervous laugh energy. Because a piece of them is rattled by the fact that you used to be the one making excuses like that. And now you're not. You outgrew the language they still use to justify their lack of movement. And let's be real here. You're not even where you want to be yet. You're still in progress, still figuring it out, still messing up sometimes. You're not walking around like some perfect success story. You're just not stuck in the exact same spot anymore. That tiny bit of forward motion, that inch, that 1% shift, is enough to keep them up pacing mentally. They replay conversations with you like security footage. Remember when they said they were going to change jobs? Remember when they said they were done with that person? Remember when they started reading those books, going to the gym, journaling, whatever? They laughed in their head back then. They thought, cute phase. They'll be back with a new disaster soon. You didn't come back with a disaster. You came back with boundaries. You came back with better posture. You came back harder to access. That's not entertainment to them. That's a problem, because your chaos used to be a distraction. A convenient one. They loved when your life was a mess. It pulled focus away from theirs. You break up. You lose money. You get fired. You fail something.
Hold still. Feel that pressure in the room. That's not silence anymore. That's respect arriving late and angry, slamming the door because it tried to pretend you weren't inside. They tried to ignore you, not loudly, not bravely. They ignored you the way cowards do, with fake smiles, delayed replies, selective blindness. They called it not noticing, but you felt it for what it was, a strategy. If they don't look at you, maybe you don't exist. If they don't acknowledge the weight, maybe the gravity stops working. But here's the thing they never understood about you. You don't disappear when you're ignored. You compress. You learned early that being overlooked doesn't kill you. It sharpens you. While they were busy being seen, you were busy becoming inevitable. While they laughed in rooms you weren't invited to, you were learning how rooms are built, who owns the locks, and why some doors only open when they're kicked from the inside. Ignoring you was supposed to humble you. Instead, it trained you. You learned how to move without applause, how to think without validation, how to bleed quietly and still show up the next day with your spine straight and your eyes unreadable. That's where the split happened, where the saint and the psychopath shook hands inside you. The saint said, "Endure." The psychopath whispered, "Remember everything?" And now look at them. Watch how their respect doesn't feel voluntary. It's not admiration, it's compliance. It's the kind of respect that shows up late, breathless, pretending it was always on your side. Because something changed. Not in you, in them. They noticed the shift when your name stopped being optional. When ignoring you started costing them opportunities, credibility, sleep. When conversations got quiet the moment you entered. Not because you demanded attention, but because the room recalibrated. You didn't raise your voice, you raised your presence. See, respect doesn't always come from love. Sometimes it comes from fear. Not the screaming kind, but the professional kind. The kind that says, "Be careful with this one. They don't react how others do." They can't predict you, and that terrifies structured minds. You don't follow the emotional script. You don't beg. You don't chase. You don't perform pain for sympathy. You adapt. You wait. You strike with timing, not noise. That's the angel-demon paradox they can't resolve. You're calm, but not soft. Kind, but not naive. Quiet, but never empty. They tried to label you. Too intense, too much, too different. What they meant was too uncontrollable. Because the moment they ignored you, they lost leverage. You stopped needing their approval, and that's when the power is inverted. The moment you no longer required recognition, recognition started requiring you. That's the irony that eats them alive. They're respecting you now, not because you asked for it, but because their systems started bending around your absence. Their plans adjusted, their narratives shifted, their confidence cracked. They felt it when your silence carried more weight than their speeches, when your restraint looked more dangerous than their aggression, when your patience started feeling deliberate, surgical, predatory. You evolved through pain they never saw. You were forged where no one clapped, no one checked in, no one cared. That kind of growth doesn't make you loud. It makes you unstoppable. And now their respect hits them against their will because it has to. Reality doesn't ask permission. They can't unsee you now, can't unknow what you've become, can't pretend the gap between words and results isn't obvious. They respect you the way people respect storms, not because they like them, but because ignoring them is no longer an option. So stand there. Let it land. Let them wrestle with the fact that the person they dismissed learned how to outgrow the room. You didn't win by demanding attention. You won by becoming the consequence of overlooking you. And deep down, they know it. They replay the moment in their heads, the exact second they decided you weren't worth noticing. A missed message, a joke made at your expense, a door closed a little too casually. They thought that was the end of you. What they didn't understand is that neglect doesn't erase certain people. It activates them. You didn't collapse when they ignored you. You recalibrated. You learned how to sit with rejection without begging it to change its mind. You learned how to listen when no one was listening to you. That's where the real education happened. In the quiet, in the absence, in the long nights where motivation had to be manufactured from rage, curiosity, and something darker that doesn't have a name. You started seeing patterns they couldn't see because they were too busy being validated. You noticed who spoke loudest when they were weakest, who laughed hardest when they were threatened, who ignored you because acknowledging you would have forced them to confront their own stagnation. Ignoring you was never about you. It was about self-preservation, because something about you made them uneasy. You didn't need the spotlight to grow. You didn't need consensus to move. You didn't need reassurance to keep going. That's dangerous. Most people are powered by applause. Take it away, and they shut down. You became quieter, sharper, more intentional. They mistook your silence for surrender. That was their fatal misread. Silence wasn't you giving up. It was you watching, learning the terrain, mapping weaknesses, understanding timing. You let them underestimate you because you understood a brutal truth. People reveal more when they think you don't matter. So you let them talk, let them relax, let them show you exactly who they were when they thought you were irrelevant. And now, look at the reversal. They feel the shift before they can explain it. They feel it in meetings where your words land heavier than theirs ever did. In moments where your presence rewrites the hierarchy without a single announcement. In the way people look at you now. Not with curiosity, but with calculation. That's respect mixed with fear. The most honest kind. They don't clap for you. They adjust for you. They choose their words more carefully, They hesitate before dismissing your ideas. They start looping you into conversations they once kept closed. And what eats at them is this: you didn't become this by being included. You became this by being excluded. Pain forced you to evolve where comfort never would have. Being ignored stripped you of illusions. It burned away the need to be liked. What remained was clarity, ruthless, calm, and precise. You became unpredictable because you stopped reacting the way they expected. You stopped chasing validation, stopped explaining yourself, stopped trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. That's when the demon sharpened its smile, and the angel learned how to walk away without guilt. They respect you now because you operate outside their emotional control system. Praise doesn't sway you. Criticism doesn't slow you. Indifference no longer wounds you. That kind of independence terrifies people who survive on influence and perception. They feel it when they try to ignore you again. And it doesn't work. Because ignoring you now creates tension, creates imbalance, creates consequences. Your absence speaks louder than their presence. And the worst part for them, they can't confront you directly. They can't accuse you of arrogance or rebellion or ambition because you didn't do anything loud enough to attack. You simply became undeniable. That's the paradox they choke on. You're not aggressive, yet they feel threatened. You're not demanding, yet they feel pressured. You're not seeking power, yet power keeps rearranging itself around you. You turned disregard into discipline, dismissal into strategy, loneliness into leverage. And now respect hits them whether they want it or not, because it's no longer emotional, it's structural. They can feel it in the way outcomes follow you, in the way momentum bends toward you, in the way people start referencing your moves when they plan their own. You didn't ask for respect. You engineered inevitability. So let them struggle with it. Let them pretend they always saw your value. Let them rewrite history to protect their pride. You know the truth. You were ignored when it was convenient. You were respected when it became necessary. And that transformation from invisible to unavoidable, that's not luck. That's evolution under pressure. And pressure? Pressure is where you were born. They'll never admit when the fear started. It wasn't one big moment. It was a series of quiet realizations stacking on top of each other until denial collapsed. It was the first time they noticed people waiting for your reaction before speaking. The first time a decision stalled until you weighed in, even when you didn't ask to. The first time they tried to ignore you again. And the room felt off, like gravity skipped a beat. That's when it hit them. You weren't loud, but you were anchoring things. You weren't dominating, but you were directing momentum. You weren't demanding authority. Authority was orbiting you without permission, and that scares people who built their identity on being noticed. They used to think ignoring you kept them safe. Now they realize it only delayed the threat. Because while they were busy managing appearances, you were managing capacity. While they chased relevance, you built range. While they obsessed over image, you refined impact. You didn't grow in front of them. You grew behind the scenes, where no one interfered. That's the kind of growth that doesn't announce itself. It just arrives. Finished. They can't track your evolution because it didn't follow the social timeline. No milestones. No validation checkpoints. No permission slips. You skipped steps because pain doesn't teach gently. It accelerates. You learned how to stay composed when disrespected, how to listen without revealing intention, how to absorb insult without leaking emotion. That's when the saint learned restraint. and the psychopath learned patience. And patience is terrifying when paired with intelligence. They start wondering what else they misjudged, what else they overlooked, what version of you they never got access to because they were too busy dismissing the earlier one. You watch it happen in real time. Their tone shifts, their posture changes, their confidence tightens, like something's being held together by effort instead of certainty. They start respecting your boundaries without you setting them, start explaining themselves when you never asked, start seeking alignment where they once assumed superiority. That's not respect born from admiration. That's respect born from recognition of threat. Because they sense it now. You don't need them. You don't need approval, access, or affirmation. You can walk away without burning bridges. And that's the most dangerous posture of all. People fear what they can't control, and they can't control someone who's already survived being invisible. You've already lived without acknowledgement, without praise, without reassurance. So what exactly can they take from you now? Nothing. And that's the power shift they feel in their bones. They try to mirror your calm, but it doesn't land the same. Because your calm isn't cosmetic. It's earned. It's built on nights where quitting would have been logical, where disappearing would have been understandable. You stayed, not to prove a point, but because something inside you refused to be erased. That's why their respect feels forced, because it is. They didn't choose it. Reality imposed it. You've become the variable they can't account for, the outlier that breaks their assumptions, the reminder that systems fail when someone evolves outside the script. They thought ignoring you would freeze you in place. Instead, it freed you from expectation, and now every interaction with you feels slightly unstable to them. Because they don't know which version of you they're dealing with. The patient one, the precise one, the one who sees 10 steps ahead and doesn't need to announce it. You don't posture, you don't flex. You let results speak in a language they can't interrupt. That's why the respect hits hard. Because it arrives alongside regret. Regret for the chances they had to align with you earlier. Regret for underestimating someone who didn't need to be seen to become powerful. Regret for confusing silence with weakness. But regret doesn't reverse evolution. You're not the person they ignored anymore. You're the consequence of that decision. And they feel it every time they hesitate around you. Every time they measure their words. Every time they realize the dynamic changed without a meeting, without an announcement, without permission. You didn't demand a seat at the table. You became the weight the table had to be built around. So let them respect you late. Let it sting. Let it arrive awkward and unearned. You're not here for their comfort. You're here because pressure shaped you into something they can't dismiss anymore. And that transformation didn't happen in the light. It happened where only monsters and saints survive. And you learned how to be both. They start rewriting their internal story about you. And it still doesn't help. Because no matter how they frame it now, quiet genius, late bloomer, unexpected rise, none of those explanations give them control back. They missed the window. They ignored you when you were raw, unfinished, still figuring out the shape of your power. They ignored you when a little recognition might have softened you, slowed you, made you negotiable. Instead, they left you alone with your thoughts, your hunger, your unanswered questions. That was a mistake. Isolation didn't make you bitter. It made you accurate. You stopped fantasizing and started observing. You stopped hoping and started measuring. You learned who panics under pressure, who folds when attention shifts, who needs noise to feel real. And you learned something else, something most people never figure out. Respect isn't requested. It's enforced by consistency, by outcomes, by the quiet threat of competence that doesn't seek permission. They feel that threat now. They feel it when you don't over-explain, when you don't rush to fill silence, when you let conversations end unfinished, knowing the weight will linger. They try to test you, subtle jabs, half-dismissals, fake authority plays, but you don't react the way they expect. No flinch, no scramble, no need to prove anything. That's when it really sinks in. You're not playing the same game anymore. You're not here to win approval points. You're not here to be liked or included. You're here to move reality, and reality responds. They respect you because they can't predict you, and they can't predict you because you're not driven by ego. You're driven by clarity. You know exactly who you are now. You know what you can tolerate, what you won't accept, what you'll walk away from without drama. That certainty is louder than arrogance ever could be. They sense it when you choose restraint instead of reaction, when you choose timing instead of impulse, when you choose silence instead of spectacle. It tells them something they don't want to hear. You're not desperate. Desperate people are easy to manage. They chase validation. They perform loyalty. They trade dignity for proximity. You don't. And because you don't, the entire dynamic tilts. Now they're the ones overthinking, replaying conversations, wondering if they misstepped, wondering if they should have handled you differently earlier. They feel the imbalance in their chest, that subtle panic that comes when power shifts quietly. Because they know this much. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't stumble into competence. You didn't luck your way into presence. You were built by being ignored, built by being underestimated, built by nights where quitting would have made sense. And you stayed anyway. You learned how to function without praise, so praise doesn't control you. You learned how to survive without support, so support doesn't own you. That's why respect doesn't flatter you now. It just registers as confirmation. You already knew. They're just catching up. And the most unsettling part for them is this: you're not angry anymore. Anger would make you predictable. Anger would keep you tethered to their opinion. You've moved past that. What you carry now is something colder, cleaner, more dangerous. Acceptance. Acceptance of who you are. Acceptance of what it took to get here. Acceptance that not everyone deserves access to you. They feel that boundary even when you never say a word. They respect you because they sense consequences. Not loud ones, not dramatic ones, quiet ones. The kind that happen when someone like you stops engaging, stops contributing, stops compensating for others' incompetence. They know if you withdraw, things collapse. Slowly, inevitably. So they adjust, they accommodate, they respect. Not because they suddenly see your worth, but because ignoring it again would cost them more than acknowledging it ever did. You didn't force this. You didn't demand it. You simply became someone reality listens to. And now every step you take reminds them of the truth they tried to avoid. Ignoring you didn't make you smaller. It made you unchained, and unchained people don't ask to be respected. They are. So let this be the quiet ending they never expected. You don't need revenge. You don't need validation. You don't even need their respect to feel whole. Because the moment they were forced to respect you, you had already moved beyond needing it. They ignored you when you were becoming. Now they respect you when you've already arrived. And the truth that will haunt them long after this moment is simple. You didn't rise to be seen. You rose so high that looking away stopped being an option. Stand there, calm, unmoved. Let their forced respect collide with your indifference. That's the final inversion of power. They didn't break you by ignoring you. They built the version of you that can never be ignored again.